Hello everyone, welcome back. I am Dipayan Ghosh, and today we are going to do one of the deepest, most fascinating, and honestly one of the most accurate techniques I have ever used for understanding a person's spouse. It's called Darakaraka, alright, and it comes from a different system of astrology called Jaimini astrology, which is a companion system to the more commonly used Parashari astrology that most of my videos are based on. Now here is why I am so much excited to share this video with you, because most of the time when astrologers talk about marriage they usually talk about 7th house. And yes, 7th house is genuinely important. It tells you about the social marriage, the ceremony, the legal union, the external circumstances, and when and how you get married. But Dharkarka tells you something very completely different, and honestly something much deeper, that tells you about the souls of a person you are going to marry, not just what they look like or what they do for work. Through it tells you that too. It tells you why your soul is actually drawn to them and what karmic lesson this specific union is here to teach you. Okay, so today I'm going to explain everything about Dark Arca. What is it? How to find it? What each planet reveals about your spouse when it holds this position, and how to understand the deeper karmic dynamics of your relationship through this lens. Alright? Okay, so let's get into it. First, let me start with the technical foundation. In Jaimini astrology, there is a concept called Charakarakas. Okay, these are dynamics, variable significators. Alright, unlike Parashari astrology where certain houses always means certain things, in Jaimini astrology we look at the actual degrees of the planets in your chart, and depending on which planet holds a specific degree position, that planet becomes the significator of what a specific area of your life is. Okay, the dark arca, which literally means a significator of spouse, is found through a very specific method. You look at the seven of the classic planets: the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, and whichever one of these planets is sitting at the lowest degree within its own sign, meaning the smallest number of the degrees, minutes, and seconds, that planet becomes your dark arca. Right now, I do want to mention something for for those of you like to go deeper into the system. There is also an advanced version called 8 Karaka scheme, which also includes Rahu as well. So since Rahu moves backward through the zodiac, its degrees get calculated a little differently. You subtract its current position from 30 degrees to account for its retrograde nature, and becomes particularly significant near what are called Ganadanta points, which are the sensitive junction zones between fire and water signs. So if you're working with a professional astrologer, ask them whether they're using 7 Karakas or 8 Karaka scheme, because it occasionally changes which planet comes out as your dark Karaka. Now I want to explain clearly why this technique gives you something the 7th house simply cannot. The 7th house tells you about what I call a social marriage, the legality of the union, the public ceremony, the external timing of circumstances of when and how the marriage happens. The dark arca, on the other hand, focuses entirely on the soul's connection, the specific karmic lesson that are embedded within the particular partnership. Think of the dark arca as your soul's mirror. It reflects back to you as the exact pending karma that the relationship is here to help you resolve. The dark arca actually reveals 5 distinct dimensions of your partner. Now let me go through each one. The first one is their physical attributes, their literal appearance, their complexation and general grace they carry. The second is their psychological nature, their temperament, their emotional stability, and their overall mental disposition. Okay, the third is their soul level dispositions. This is about their spiritual maturity and what I would describe as the purity of their essential nature. Okay, the fourth is their career archetype. The professional field they are drawn to, the social standings, and their established status in the world. And the fifth is your overall marital destiny together, the actual quality of the lived experience you will share, and the evolutionary growth that this union specifically triggers in your life. Okay. Now, let me walk you through each one of the seven planets and what it means when the specific planet is your Darakaraka. I'm going to go into real detail here because each one of these archetypes is genuinely rich and genuinely useful for understanding your own relationship pattern. Alright, so first is Sun is your Dharkarka, right? So when Sun becomes your Dharkarka, I call this a royal spouse archetype. Your partner tends to be very confident, authoritative, and steadfast. They carry a high degree of integrity and natural leadership ability. Now, if the Sun happens to be afflicted in your chart, the same energy can show up instead of dominant engineering or egotistical attitude. Alright, so the quality of the Sun matters a great deal here. Physically, the partner tends to be elegant, dignified, and genuinely carries what I should describe as a royal presence. There is a often radiant or commanding aura about them that other notice immediately. All right. Now, in terms of career, the social status and their partner frequently comes from a prominent and well-established family background. They typically hold high positions in fields like government, corporate management, politics, or sometimes medicines. All right. The relationship dynamics here is the center of the balancing ego and mutual respect. The karmic lesson your soul is working through in this union is learning humility and learning the art of validating another person's importance without falling into constant power struggles. Alright. Okay, now let's talk about Moon as your Dharkarka. Alright. So when Moon, MOON, becomes your Dharkarka. Now, when Moons becomes a Dharkarka, I call this as a nurturing spouse archetype. Your partner tends to be very deeply emotional, sensitive, and genuinely empathetic. All right, there is often a quality to this bond that feels karmically familiar. Many people with this placement describe as feeling of reuniting with someone, almost like an old soul connection from a previous lifetime. Physically, this partner tends to have a fair complexion with soft, expressive feature. There is often a there is often a maternal or genuinely soothing quality to their overall beauty. Now, in terms of career, this partner is commonly associated with healing professions, psychology, hospitality, or nursing. The relationship dynamics focus heavily on emotional security and domestic peace. The primary karmic lesson here is to learn to find real stability even amidst natural mood swings and mastering the art of genuine mutual care for each one another. One another. Okay. Now let's talk about Mars. Mars as your Darakaraka. So when Mars becomes a Darakaraka, I call this an active spouse archetype. Like, have you ever seen the Undisputed movie? I mean, I know many of men will see this movie because it is a fighting movie. All right, so it's just about a Russian fighter. So if you have seen the that Undisputed movie, just comment me down below that you have seen the movie because that movie is typically you know indicates as a Mars Darakarka. I'm talking about Yuri Boyka. Okay, so like that is very much equivalent to Mars Darakarka. All right, now if Mars is your Darakarka, I call this the active spouse archetype. Your partners tends to be courageous, logical, and driven by strong willpower. They face adversity with a genuinely fearless demeanors. Through the same energy can show up as impulsiveness or a headstrong nature if not managed well. Physically, their partner tends to be very much athletic, very much strong, and physically active. They often possess a direct and quite piercing gaze at you. Notice right away. All right. In terms of career, this partner is commonly found in engineering, technical fields, military, surgery, and real estate. The relationship dynamics here is fiery and genuinely passionate. The karmic lesson your soul is working through is learning patience and developing the discipline of healthy conflict resolution rather than falling into aggressive confrontation whenever disagreements arises. All right. Now let's talk about Mercury as a Darakaraka. When Mercury becomes your Darakaraka. So Mercury is in your Darakaraka. I call this an intellectual spouse archetype. Your partner tends to be witty, talkative, and highly intelligent. They genuinely brings fun and humor into their relationship. Now, I do want to give you an important technical warning here that I think is very much important to be honest about. A Mercury Darakaraka is not always automatically indicative of a fully loyal spouse or a partner. All right. Now, Mercury represents what is sometimes called a fickle of mind, all right, and a natural desire of constant mental stimulation and experimentation. If Mercury happens to be afflicted in the chart, this specific placement can sometimes correlate with an increased risk of extramarital complications. All right. This does not mean every Mercury Darakaraka partner will be unfaithful. It simply means that this is a specific area worth being mindful of and worth discussing openly within the relationship. Alright. Physically, this partner tends to be very much youthful and attractive. They often look significantly younger than their actual age. Alright. In terms of career, this partner is commonly associated with media, IT, finance, banking, or business entrepreneurship, sometimes astrology too. Alright. The relationship dynamics here center on communication being the actual lifeblood of the union. The karmic lesson is learning to express truth clearly and honestly without falling into manipulation or unnecessary intellectual games with your partner. Alright? Okay, now let's talk about Jupiter. As your Darakaraka. Now, when Jupiter becomes a Darakaraka, I call this a wise spouse archetype. Your partner tends to be ethical, spiritual, and genuinely optimistic. They often ends up acting as a mentor, a teacher, or a moral guide within the marriage itself. Physically, the partner carries a respectable and well developed presence with a calm and expansive energy about them. They can be little bit of weight gaining, alright? I mean, little bit fat or something like that. In terms of career, this partner is commonly involved in law, teaching, consultancy, or religious and spiritual leadership. The relationship dynamics here are considered genuinely auspicious and focused on dharma, righteous living. Alright. This partner acts as a genuine catalyst of your for your spiritual evolution and for the expansion of your higher consciousness throughout the marriage. Alright. Now let's talk about Venus. Is your Darakaraka. Now, when Venus is a Dharkarka, I call this is a very much romantic spouse archetype. Your partner need your partner tends to be very much charming, artistic, and genuinely refined. They value they value aesthetic harmony deeply, and they may have specific creative hobbies such as sculpting, photography, or even a deep interest in esoteric practices like tarot and astrology themselves. Physically, this partner tends to be very much exceptionally beautiful or handsome, with a refined sense of fashion and appreciation for luxury. In terms of career, this partner is commonly found in entertainment, design, luxury goods, or broader creative arts, or sometimes fashion design. All right. The relationship dynamics here are genuinely geared towards experiencing love and material comfort together. The soul lesson your Darakaraka is teaching you to cultivating genuine devotion that goes beyond just superficial beauty or surface level attraction. Alright. now now let me talk about Saturn. As your Dharakaraka. Now when Saturn is your Dharakaraka, I call this a disciplined spouse archetype. Your partner tends to be very much mature, practical, and intensely loyal. They prioritize duty, stability, and long term commitment over temporary or fleeting passion. Physically, this partner may appear older than their actual age or carry a more serious demeanor generally. They are all often tall, slim, and possess a somewhat reserved personality. In terms of career, this partner is commonly involved in fields that requires real endurance, such as human resources, agriculture, mining, or heavy industry work. All right. This also indicates career like Mars, like engineering. All right. The relationship dynamics here are what I would describe as a partnership forged through time. The karmic lesson your soul is learning through this union is patience, genuine responsibility, and purification of karma through steadfast, unwavering commitment to another person. Alright? Okay, and finally, next is Rahu. Is your Dharaka. Oh my god, what I'm just writing. Okay, so Rahu is a Darakaraka, right? Now, this which applies only if you're using the advanced 8 Karaka scheme I mentioned earlier. This indicates what I would call a unconventional soul connections. Your partner may come from a foreign land, a very different culture from your own, or represents what could be called a taboo partnership. All right, something that shatters conventional social norms in some way. This kind of union has a specific purpose of transforming your identity and your beliefs at a very deep level. All right. Okay, now let me talk about the specific planet that is your Darakarka is only a part of picture, but the condition, all right, or what we call the dignity of the planet changes how its archetype actually manifests in your life. Okay, so first thing, if your Darakarka is exalted, okay, that means it's sitting on its exaltation sign. All right, if your Darakarka is exalted, you will find that it suggests a partner who genuinely facilitates your spiritual evolution and brings positive karma in your life. All right, now if it's debilitated, all right, if your dark arc is debilitated, you will find that it indicates a partner who may be more inclined towards material desire or challenges that are genuinely rooted in past life circumstances. Right, this kind of placement often requires you to work through deep seated relationship baggage together with real patience and maturity. All right, now if your dharkarka is combusted, all right, if your dharkarka is combusted, or let me just oh my god, no. Sorry, I was gonna draw a fire sign. All right, so it's actually the symbol of this is actually a symbol of combustion sign. If you see in many kundli making websites, even the cosmic dharma. So okay, so if your planet is combusted, I mean your dharaka is Darakaraka is combusted, meaning it is sitting too much close to the sun, it can lead to delays in actual marriage happening. Alright, or a general sense of dissatisfaction within the relationship that needs conscious attention. Okay, now if your planet is if your Dharkarka is retrograded, okay, if your Dharkarka is retrograded, you will see a small r over here or a star over here, okay, specifically the star. Alright, so if you see, if your Dharkarka is retrograded, it may mean the quality of your spouse gets somewhat internalized. Alright, or there could be a delay in the fulfillment of what we call the soul connection between you. Alright, now there is also something called Vargottama status, okay, which is genuinely a very much powerful placement. This happens when your Dharkarka occupies the same exact sign in your both main chart and your Navamsha chart. This occurs when it provides immense strength and stability into the marriage, indicating a spouse whose nature is genuinely consistent and deeply supportive through your life together. Alright, now let's talk about Navamsha. Okay, so in Navamsha, let me just take the pencil up. Now I want to add another layer understanding by looking at your element dark arca falls into specifically in your Navamsha chart. Now it's which is the D9 chart. This reveals what I call a inner nature of the relationship, what the partnership actually feels like once you move beyond the surface level personality and into daily life, into daily married life. Okay. Now if your dark arca is in a fire sign in the Navamsha, alright, meaning if it's in Leo, Sagittarius, this indicates a passionate, genuinely inspiring partnership that awakens a sense of independence with you. Alright. Now if your dark arca is in the earth sign in Navamsha, meaning Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, this indicates a stable, duty oriented, and genuinely supportive bond between you two. If your dark arca is in the air sign, Navamsha, in the Navamsha, meaning Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, this indicates an intellectual, communicative, and socially progressive union. And if your dark arca is in the water sign in Navamsha, like Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, this indicates an emotional, spiritual, and genuinely healing connection between the two of you. Okay. Okay. Now let me tell you what the karmic theme of your relationship looks like based on which house of your Darka is sitting in, counted from your Lagna to your ascendant. Alright. So for that I have to see the D1 Lagna. Alright. Do not confuse, I was talking about the Navamsha. Alright, now I'm talking about the D1. So if your Darkarka is sitting in the first house, alright. Oh my god, sorry. I should write the DK. So if Darkarka is sitting in the first house, you will find that the relationship karma centers on self-realization through the partner. Your marriage is literally helps define your own identity. Okay. Now, if Darakaraka is in the second house, okay, you will find that the focus is on the family wealth, okay, personal values and financial stability that develops through the union. Okay. Now, if your Darakaraka is in the third house, you will find that the relationship is genuinely thrives on communication and traveling together and teamwork as a couple. Okay. Now if Darakaraka is in the fourth house, your emotional security and domestic life becomes a sacred focus on the marriage. Alright, like your family is very much responsible for your marriage. They may be a little bit of judgmental for your spouse. Alright. Now if Darakaraka is in the fifth house, your romantic destiny and any children you have together bring both transformation with genuine joy in your life. Okay. Now, if Darakaraka is in the sixth house, this indicates a karmic service between two of you and resolving the past life debts, specifically through solving real life challenges together as a team. Okay. Now, if it's in the seventh house, your Darakaraka, you will find that this is what we call a traditional partnership karma. The focus here is on the dharma and mutual fulfillment in the most classical sense of marriage. Okay. Now, if Darakaraka is in the eighth house, all right, you will find that if a Darakaraka is in the eighth house, the relationship carries an intense, transformative, or even secretive quality to the love shared. Okay, this often indicates a fated reunion and significant subconscious shifts happening through the union. Okay. Now, if Darakaraka is in the ninth house, you will find that this indicates a spiritual or intellectual marriage, one that brings genuine expansion of wisdom and often long journey together. Okay. If Darakaraka is in the 10th house, your spouse directly impacts your career dharma, your public status, and your professional recognition throughout the life. Okay. Now, if the Darakaraka is in the 11th house, the relationship theme centers on gains, shared, and dreams, and achieving higher goals together through your partner's support. Right. And lastly, if your Darakaraka is in the 12th house, okay, you will find that this indicates what I would call a soulmate connection across lifetimes, a genuinely moksha oriented union, meaning one that is ultimately oriented towards spiritual liberation rather than purely worldly goals. Right. Now, let me introduce you to what I consider single most sacred and most important relationship in all of Jaimini astrology. All right. This is the connection between your Atmakaraka, which represents your soul, and your Darakaraka, which represents the other. All right. The partner. Darakaraka is the partner. All right. So the Atmakaraka is found using the same method as the Darakaraka, except instead of looking at the lowest degree planet, you look at the planet sitting at the highest degree planet in your entire chart. This planet represents your soul deepest desire and your core identity in this lifetime. The relationship between your Atmakaraka and Darakaraka reveals the true nature of your soul level connection between you and your spouse. First, we'll look at natural planetary friendship. If your Atmakaraka and your Darakaraka planets are naturally friendly towards each other in the classical planetary friendship system, your spouse will genuinely adapt easily to your soul's path and your life direction. Beyond friendship. So beyond friendship, there is also a specific positional relationships between these two planets that carry deep significance. If your Atmakaraka and your Darakaraka are conjunct or sitting exactly opposite to each other, what we call the 1 to 7 axis, this represents an extremely rare and extremely powerful configuration. It is considered as the internal Shiv Shakti alchemy. This is often referred to as twin flame alignment, and it serves as the profound spiritual catalyst for both people involved. Now, if your Atmakaraka and Darakaraka sit in on a 5 to 9 axis relationship to each other, this is considered a genuinely fortunate connection where both partners naturally supports and encourage each other's growth throughout the relationship. If your Atmakaraka and Darakaraka sits on if your Atmakaraka and Darakaraka sits on 6 to 8 axis, all right, or a 2 to 12 axis in the relationship, this indicates the presence of hidden conflicts and significant karmic debts between the two souls that requires real maturity and real conscious efforts to resolve over time. Okay, I mentioned this briefly already, but I want to emphasize how important the Navamsha chart and the D9 is confirming what the Darakaraka is in your main chart actually is promising. Okay, your D9 is considered the ultimate authority and on the inner quality of marriage. It reveals who your partner is truly becomes once you move past the excitement of the early relationship and onto your mundane reality of daily married life together. Okay, so in your Navamsha chart, if you see that if your Darakaraka is sitting on the first house, all right, just let me do the tick mark. Okay, first house and the seventh house, you will find that this is a very much highly auspicious placement for the marriage. Okay, now if you find that if your Darakaraka is sitting in the sixth house, eighth house and 12th house, you will find of your Navamsha chart, this suggests that the union will require significant spiritual labor and genuine sacrifice from both partners to make it work. Okay, now let's talk about the remedies. There are specific remedial practices based on planet, which planet is your particular Dharaka, specifically if that planet is showing signs of affliction in your chart. If the planet is your Dharaka, if Sun is your Dharaka, all right, it needs support. Maintain genuinely high moral standards in your life and your relationship, and chant the Sun Beej mantra every Sunday. Okay, and if Moon is your Dharaka and it needs support, practice real emotional maturity in how you handle your feelings and perform Chandra Puja. All right, and worship of the moon every Monday. If Mars is your Dharkaraka, donate red lentils or copper items every Tuesday and consciously practice patience in your interactions with your partner. If Mercury is your Dharkaraka, uphold genuinely truthful dialogue with your partner at all the times and chant the Mercury Beej mantra every Wednesday. If Jupiter is your Dharkaraka, donate books or educational materials to those who needs them and actively seek guidance from genuine mentors figure in your life, maybe a guru. If Venus is your Dharkaraka, worship Goddess Lakshmi every Friday and consciously cultivate genuine aesthetic appreciation for beauty and art rather than a purely superficial one. Alright, if your Saturn is Dharkaraka, donate black sesame seeds or iron items every Saturday and worship Lord Shiva every Monday specifically to soothe any karmic pressure connected to this placement. Alright. Now, beyond these specific planetary remedies, identifying and honoring your Ishtadevta, your soul's personal chosen deity, further harmonize your entire marital path by providing you with a spiritual strength needed to navigate whether a karmic contract your Darakaraka represents. All right. Now let me close with what I think is the deepest truth about the entire technique. The Darakaraka is genuinely the celestial DNA of your partnership. It reminds us that spouse is not merely a companion who happens to share your life. They are spiritual ally who serves as a direct catalyst for the evolution of your soul. Whether your relationship brings you great joy or whether it brings you profound challenges that ask you to grow in difficult ways, it is ultimately a coded dialogue with your own destiny. By truly embracing the lessons that your specific dark arc reveals, you move forward. You move towards a karmically aligned union, one that genuinely serves as a path towards dharma, towards self-realization and towards ultimate fulfillment of your soul's purpose within the lifetime. Now, if you want to make free Kundalini and your birth chart, visit the Cosmic Dharma website, link in the description down below. And if you want to book a personal consultation with me, you can DM me on Instagram, link will be in the description down below. And if this video helped you, please like it, share it with someone who has been curious about their spouse's soul pattern, and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Until then, uh, honor the mirror of your partner holds up for you, and let the sacred union guide you closer to your own soul's purpose. All right. Jai Shri Ram.